Hey guys, one thing you need to realize is that bones are living tissue. They are constantly being broken down and rebuilt depending on the forces and loads you put on them. It's the reason the astronauts go into space and they have very low bone density and they're at high risk for fractures. And where people who subject their bones to high loads have more dense bones. That's the benefits of exercise. But with that, because this is on a continuum and a scale, you need to realize that you have to slowly ramp up the load you put through your bones. So where this is very common and seen is in two scenarios. One, stress fractures. When you have somebody, these tend to be lower leg, foot, sometimes the femur if it's really bad and like runners. There has to be a slow, steady increase in loading so those joints, or not the joints, but the bones rather, can break down, rebuild stronger. Because what happens if you do too much too soon, if that load exceeds the capacity of that bone by too much too soon, you get stress fractures. That bone can't catch up to the amount of load that you're putting through it. Those can be extremely painful and it takes a long time to heal from those. So remember, slow, steady increases, especially with dynamic things, running, jumping, any of your distance endurance sports. The other thing that gets overlooked a lot as far as spine and low back pain are endplate fractures. So just a quick anatomy lesson, you have a bone, and a disc in between those. What happens a lot of the time is you get people, I've actually experienced this myself, where let's say you take a decent amount of time off from squatting or deadlifting, but you still train those muscles in a different capacity. So let's say you start doing a lot of lunges. I'm a big proponent of single leg movements because it's minimal spine load, which is helpful for people with bad discs. What happens, you do a lot of lunging, that spine load is decreased while you're still getting a good workout through your legs, but then when you go back to squatting, you still have the leg strength to squat heavy, but your bone density, because it hasn't been loaded well in a long time, ends up failing. And what happens is you've got your bone, and the disc in between. The disc will actually shoot through the bone because of the compressive force that's put on it. So again, this is what happened to me. I took some time off from squatting, did a lot more single leg stuff, and then went and did heavy rack pulls one day. And toward the end of my set, I felt this pop. I heard it. Have the MRI to confirm. There's all sorts of inflammation now in the bone because that's exactly what happened. There was an end plate fracture and the disc went through into the bone. So the point being, when you are going to load up movements potentially that you haven't done in a while, think of your high compression movements, squats, deadlifts, those type of things. There has to be a slow ramp up. Even if your muscles have been trained at a high load, your bones also need to be trained at high load. So there needs to be a slow ramp up with bone loading, just as there would be with muscle loading. I know that's kind of might be conceptually hard, and that's a little bit deeper than I like to take things, but if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out, and I can explain this better if I didn't do a good job just now. Have a great day.